Naturopathic medicine and diagnosis have been with us for thousands of years. From the earliest recorded time, medicine men from the world over used their senses of touch, sight, sound, smell, taste, and intuition to assess a patient's condition before selecting a remedy or therapy. Naturopaths today use the same methods and usually have a knowledge of more than one therapy. With years of experience, a naturopath's senses become finely tuned. They are able to assess a patient's condition very quickly, often simply by just being in the same room and watching for telltale signs that the patient unknowingly transmits. The way a person sits, relaxed or restricted, whether they make eye contact, the feel of their skin, cold, damp, or excessively hot, whether their breathing is congested, labored, or shallow, indicating stress and poor oxygen supply to the rest of the body. A sick person might also give off an odor that a naturopath will recognize and relate to a specific area of the body. There are many signals that the body relays when it is unwell. These signals can be picked up very quickly by the experienced naturopath, who will be warned intuitively about how they should approach their diagnosis. These methods are also those of the medicine man, and one of the most well-known but least understood cultures with a naturopathic tradition is that of the Native American.
There are over 500 independent nations of Native Americans. Each nation is divided into clans, and each clan has its own traditions, legends, rituals, and medicine. Most clans were named after animals. For example, Bear Clan, Turtle Clan, or Wolf Clan. Each child born into a clan was given a sacred name, but this name would change as the individual's special gifts and links with the natural world became apparent. As skills developed, the name would change again. He who talks to birds, or she who talks to birds, for example, may grow to become he who rides horses good, or she who rides horses good. Later, this name would change again with the first spiritual vision. To Native Americans, life is an ongoing cyclical process, and a process linked to one mystery of creation. In fact, the most common belief, shared by all Native Americans, is their belief in a single Earth Mother as the foundation of truth. Today, Native Americans live in a modern world, and many have blended their traditional beliefs and customs with Christianity. This interaction of natural mystery and modern life is an ongoing process. But there is a feeling among many that what has been lost is greater than what has been gained. Native American medicine connects the mind, body, and spirit to the great mystery and to all of life through nature.
Fortunately, we are still able to reforge the link between modern naturopathic medicine and the ritual ceremony and spiritual traditions of Native American medicine. John Two Birds is a Native American pipe carrier and herbalist. He sees himself as a neo-traditionalist. John's unique branch of Native American medicine attracts people from around the world eager to learn his specific techniques. As we explore them, it must be remembered that these techniques are not shared by all Native Americans.
I like that old Oriental adage, of give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish and he eats the rest of his life. I function on that principle. I believe in the power of one. One person can be effective, and so we talk about that being the pebble in the pool. Throw yourself into the pool of life. Create those ripples if necessary, and watch them go out.
To Native Americans, medicine is anything imbued with spirit. All living things have it, from plants to man. It can be an object or a practice and can possess healing and protective power. It is an energy that is constantly trying to balance us mentally and physically. Native Americans believe they can heal themselves and create a better life for others by living within the balance of the natural world and by using natural remedies. To understand why they believe this, we need to see the universal nature of the spirit through Native American eyes.
In the beginning, there was the infinite womb of the Great Mother, the abyss, the void. And that into this void then came, burst upon this void, if you will, the one fire. And when the one fire burst upon this void, it scattered its sun seed, or the stars, out into the infinite womb of the Great Mother. And as these stars, these sun seeds, traveled out through the womb of the Great Mother, she felt them, and she reached out to them, and she touched them, and where they touched is that place where we build our altar. And we say, then she took the sun seed into her and took it into the most sacred parts of her womb. And once she got it inside, she looked at it, and she saw mirrored in it, in its depths and its fire, she saw a joy and a happiness. And that caused her to weep tears of joy and happiness. And that's the sweet water we say, that we need to nourish our body, and that gives plants life and things. We say as she turned the stone around and looked at it, she also saw in it the capability of great sorrow and great sadness. And she wept over that also. And thus comes the bitter water that's on this earth, our oceans and our seas. Out of this, though, as she wept and she looked at this burning sunseed that she had in her hands, she created, we say, the mist. When the tears hit it, it created a steam. So when we carry this hot stone from the grandfather fire into the lodge, into the infinite womb of the Great Mother, and we pour water on it, what we're doing is simulating, reenacting that first crying. And the mist that comes up around it, we call that the breath of life. And we say that out of this myth, out of that catalyst that happened there, all life springs from that. First was the stone people. Second was the standing people. The flowers, the plants, the trees, the grasses. Then came the creepy crawly beings and the no-see-ums and the bite-ums. Then came the swimming beings and the wing beings and the hoof beings and the clawed beings. And last, we pitiful two-legged. We do believe in a form of reincarnation. We do say that the spirit continues to come back. Time is only relevant to we short-lived beings. We're the only ones that really concern ourselves about time. The butterfly doesn't concern itself about its short lifespan. The ant, the elephant, whatever it is. None of the rest of creation concerns itself about time except us.
Native Americans seek the balance and peace that lies within the universal nature of all things by honoring the elements and respecting the earth that gives them life. Now that this cosmology is in place, it should be clear that the rocks, the animals, the plants, and the people, which is the name Native Americans give themselves, are connected to the great mystery of life. They believe that the better connected we are, the more at peace we are with ourselves, and the more we receive from the curative properties of plants and the wisdom of animals. We can see this, for example, in their jewelry. Native American jewelry, commonly made from turquoise, jet, malachite, or mother of pearl, often features animal symbols as constant reminders of the connection between man, the animal kingdom, and the great mystery.
They started out basically as kind of body armor for your throat, so people couldn't cut your throat and things. But in a warrior way, it's come to signify, at least to me in the way that I teach about a choker, is that if you're wearing a choker, you know, you're supposed to tell the truth. And hypothetically, if you don't tell the truth, the choker chokes you, you know. If you're lying while you're wearing a choker, the choker chokes you, so it's called a choker. Another example of that is the heshi that the Navajo wear. You know, it's a single strand of turquoise around their neck, you know. The legend says, for example, though, that the only people who wore the heshi were the yenagloshi, the skinwalkers, or you would call them werewolves. You know, and they wore that because if they got caught, you know, if they were asked who they were, then before they could tell their real name or they could divulge who else was a skinwalker or a yenaglosh, that choker would choke them to death. So then people began symbolically to start wearing those things to say, look, when I speak, I'm telling the truth, especially when I'm wearing this thing.
Beading is another native craft in which the colors and patterns are symbolic. In the Western world, we only relate to them because of their beauty. Modern life has little time for spiritual contemplation. So one of the prime roles of Native American medicine today is to heal the spiritual rift. And it does this by reviving important rituals.
The ritual for us is to remind us of things, to help us focus on things, to teach us things, you know, and give some order to what it is that we're doing. And that's all ritual is. We say this ritual, though, is particularly important because it is a reenactment of that first primal act of creation.
In everything the medicine man does, there is ritual and prayer.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Stones used for the ritual of lodge are collected for the life left in them. They are seen as rocks that have come from the one fire, from the center of the universe. Each stone represents the stars and the seed of man, spreading out through the universe into the darkness of the womb of the Great Mother. Prayers and tobacco are offered in return for their use, and when they are carried, they are held near the womb so that the energy left in them is nurtured and protected.
The native people of North America use tobacco in many ceremonies and see it as a powerful medicine. Certain types of tobacco are used for certain things. The Roanoke Indians eat tobacco to rid themselves of bad humors. The Cherokees use tobacco leaves fried in butter to heal wounds. The Iroquois place chewing tobacco inside tooth cavities to ease the pain. And many tribes use it medicinally to soothe nerves, promote vomiting, and relieve constipation. And of course, dried tobacco is also smoked. Smoking pipe is the most sacred of all ceremonies. The Native American believes that by smoking pipe, they will speak the truth. Tribal elders pray that no troubles come between them, and these prayers are seen to rise up with the smoke to communicate with the Great Spirit. It is ironic that a substance proved to be so unarguably dangerous to normal good health is used to generate trust and good feeling. From what we know, everything used for medicine must be of good spirit, and it must come together with the spirit of the person doing the medicine and the person who requires healing. The same tradition applies to the collection and use of herbs and willow wands. The Native Americans believe that if you approach the most desolate place on earth in the right way, then the earth will nourish and nurture you and show you what you need to live, and that is what is called medicine. John gives this central belief his own individual interpretation.
Those are the herbs that you go to. Those are the plants that you go and you take, and you tell them the same thing. I have somebody that's ill and I need your help. Because what we really believe is happening is that that plant lends its spirit, you know, and its power and its strength to your own spirit and your power and your strength. It lends its intent to your intent, and that intent is to heal this person. Now that person has to also be involved in this, you know. And so what you end up doing is having the plant spirit, your spirit, and that person's spirit, all asking spirit to heal.
Medicine connects to the great mystery, to all life, and to each animal. By adopting animal medicine, the Native American knows the animal for its wisdom. John's teachings are unwritten and handed down through generations. Originally, he believes, from the animal itself.
Let's take, for example, the Lakota legend about how they got their pipes. You know, the white buffalo calf woman. Here's an animal changing into a human being, or we're human, to give us medicine, to give us pipe, to give us a way to follow, you know, and things. And then going away from us, changing back into an animal. You know, we never really stop and think about those kinds of things. And if we look back through our history, we'll see that animals have changed into us to gift us with many, many different things in our lives, to teach us things that were necessary for our survival, for our continuance, you know, and then changed back into its animal form and left. You know, so we need to think in animals of those terms too, that they have gifts to give to us.
To Native Americans, life is survival, and the animals are on Earth to teach survival. Most ancient clans adopted an animal through a vision or a dream, and they referred to this animal as a totem. Of animal teaching today, Native Americans who share their way with us tell us that we have taken an ancient way and reinterpreted it to make it universally accessible. Nevertheless, here are some of our modern conclusions about the animals adopted as totems.
The shell of the turtle represents Mother Earth and is the mother of all creatures. The shell means she is always at home. The turtle moves slowly and deliberately, taking time to think. The frog represents our need for water, but beyond our need for water to survive is our need for clean water to cleanse our immune systems. So frog medicine advises us to keep the Earth's water clean and our bodies in a fluid state to flush away impurities. Native Americans say that the sound of the frog is the song for rain. The bear is considered to be a healer and herbalist. Bears know which berries to seek for food and those for medicine. A bear will also go into hibernation to give its body a chance to rest and recharge. If we follow a naturopathic way of life, then like the bear, we will know what to eat and drink to nourish our bodies, and we will know the signals that tell us to rest our systems so our bodies can heal. The wolf is the deliverer of new or revived ideas. The wolf will not bend to persecution, nor will it be misunderstood. Wolves have a strict code of hierarchy and close family unity. The young are precious and are taught discipline and respect. In many ways, wolf medicine represents the return of natural medicine, making a comeback despite man's general lack of understanding and misrepresentation. The buffalo represents a new beginning. At one time, it was the food, clothing, and shelter for some Native Americans. Buffalo today means abundance and prosperity. The white buffalo is a symbol to Native Americans that their traditions and culture will now thrive after a period of decline. The eagle brings messages from Creator to the hawk, who carries them to the crow. The crow takes the messages to the people themselves. These messages help the people to move along their path in life. The hawk sees everything. It is a visionary spirit. Hawk sees all points of view and is therefore a good mediator. Deer is a messenger that brings calm and peace. Like the nature of the animal itself, deer medicine is shy and non-aggressive. The presence of deer can create tranquility that allows others to see their lives in a different perspective and to see that things often thought important are not so. Ants are builders. They work together for the sake of the whole colony. They persevere and will achieve their common goal by helping one another. Whether we work alone or with others, our work affects the rest of the planet in some way. Ant medicine sees this work in a positive light. A spider's web is made from ever-increasing circles that are linked together. If the center of a web represents experience and actions, then the wider circles represent the wider impact of actions. If we have woven that web, then we are responsible for its effect. The same applies to our health. Each system is linked to another, and when our systems are out of balance, in finding the central cause, we find the cure. The mountain lion is related to the domestic cat. When waking, they stretch and loosen their bodies, moving slowly and relaxed, projecting a peaceful atmosphere. Stroking a cat is calming to our nervous system. Watching their medicine teaches us to pace our bodies. The shedding of a snake's skin is a process of renewal. It doesn't clutch to something that is of no use anymore. Yet it can be difficult to let go of that which is familiar. Once the process of shedding starts, it reveals a better life and a way forward, even though the process may be painful. There is a positive energy that flows through all living things. It is well known that house pets are sensitive to their owner's spiritual energies and can have a healing effect just by being with them. Perhaps this is a link back to the legendary relationship between man and the animals.
A lot of us belong to a lot of different animal clans because we want to take on the positive attributes of that animal. We want to be as strong as a bear. We want to be as wily as the fox. You know, we want to be like the wolf, as wise as the wolf, you know, or as wise as the owl, you know, kind of thing. So animals play an important role in our lives. They have played in our ancestors' lives.
Native Americans use herbs in purification and cleansing ceremonies. There is a strong connection with the medicinal way herbs are used in the West, with one essential difference. Medicine is not collected in ways that abuse the earth by harvesting herbs with machines or by taking more than is needed. When the herb is picked, prayers and tobacco are always offered to the Great Spirit in return. In doing so, the spiritual healing power of the medicine is thought to be preserved.
Cedar is burned to attract good spirits and eliminate negative energy. Prayers rise on the cedar smoke and are carried by the wind to the Creator. As an incense, cedar purifies an area of the body and sends away bad dreams. It is used in lodge ceremonies to release emotional energy. It is also used as an oil for skin rashes and rheumatism and is an excellent insect repellent. Juniper leaves are burned to fight bad magic and negative influences. They are also thrown onto hot rocks in lodge ceremonies. A tea made from juniper is used as a purgative for urinary problems and to strengthen the stomach. The Tewa tribe carried juniper for protection against the spread of infections. The Shoshone to cure rheumatism. Animals also recognize the virtue of juniper berries and will eat them to deter fleas. Navajo women scatter the dry juniper berries over an anthill. The ants eat out the center, and the women then string the berries together in beads. The results are ghost beads, which are used to protect babies from evil spirits. Vervain is a valuable plant to have in both the Native Americans and the herbalist's medicine chest. It is used in fluid form as a remedy against coughs and colds. It is also used for nervous conditions and is a refreshing pick-me-up for a hangover. Burdock has long been used as an herbal tea to cleanse the skin, soothe the kidneys, and cleanse the lymphatic system. As with many of the herbs mentioned, different parts of the plant have an affinity with certain areas of the body. A good example of this is mullein. The leaves of mullein laid upon warts are said to remove them. The powdered flowers are a remedy for colic. And both leaves and flowers can be used in an infusion for pulmonary complaints. An herb that boosts the immune system is echinacea. Herbalists use the dried rhizome to treat septicemia, abscesses, and blood poisoning. The Sioux also used it against hydrophobia and snake bite. Witch hazel is used by Native Americans in the form of a poultice applied with a cotton cloth for various irritations and inflammations. In the West, it is used as an astringent and for bruises and sports injuries. It is also used to stop bleeding and excessive menstruation. The Native Americans eat the leaves of the St. John's wort for their soothing digestive effect. Phlegm on the chest and lungs is relieved by a tea made from this herb, which has been known to help eliminate symptoms of bronchitis. St. John's wort is also used for the treatment of jaundice, irritability, and gastric problems. In aromatherapy, St. John's wort is blended with a carrier oil. Yarrow is used to combat colds, influenza, measles, chickenpox, and other cases of fever. It has the ability to keep up a patient's strength and act as a blood cleanser, opening the pores so the waste can be freely sweated out, which takes pressure off the kidneys. Native Americans use the leaves as a poultice for skin rash, a tonic for rundown conditions, and apply yarrow juice to the eyes to take away redness. The ripe berries of the hawthorn provide one of the best remedies for the heart and circulatory system, particularly for treating high blood pressure, arteriosclerosis, and angina. However, whilst they can be very effective in aiding these conditions, like all herbs, they should only be prescribed by an expert practitioner. The leaves and stems of lady's mantle contain constituents that act as an astringent, diuretic, and anti-inflammatory. It also helps reduce pains associated with periods and has an important role to play in easing the changes of the menopause. It is also used as a mouthwash for sores and mouth ulcers. Dandelion is perhaps the best widely applicable diuretic. Other drugs that stimulate kidney function lead to a loss of potassium from the body. Dandelion, however, is a natural source of potassium, so is the perfect balanced diuretic. It is also an effective liver tonic and is used as a specific for congestive jaundice. Practically all of the elder can be used in naturopathic remedies: the bark, the flowers, berries, and leaves. The leaves are used for bruises, sprains, wounds, and chilblains. The flowers for colds, hay fever, and influenza. Elderberries have similar properties to flowers and also form the base of an excellent cough remedy. The bark is a purgative and diuretic. Nettles strengthen the whole body. They are a specific in cases of childhood eczema and are beneficial in all varieties of this condition, especially nervous eczema. Hop flowers have a relaxing effect on the central nervous system and are used extensively in the treatment of insomnia. An infusion taken at night relaxes tension which might otherwise induce headaches or indigestion. They must not, however, be used in cases of marked depression. With its high content of volatile oil, thyme makes a good carminative for use in dyspepsia. The oil is also strongly antiseptic and can be used for respiratory and digestive infections and to cleanse infected wounds. It also forms an excellent cough remedy. Chamomile flowers contain a volatile oil which has relaxing, carminative, and anti-inflammatory properties. It is an excellent sedative. Indigestion is also eased with chamomile. Similarly, it can be used as a mouthwash for bathing sore eyes or in a steam bath to comfort nasal catarrh. All in all, chamomile is a popular infusion that is safe for use with children.
Many of these plants are used as herbal remedies or in homeopathic treatments, and those that contain a high content of volatile oil are often used in aromatherapy. The range of ailments a single herb can ease is often remarkable. Each herb has properties that produce varying degrees of physical or psychological response from a patient. Success often depends on the manner in which they are prescribed by the herbal practitioner. But the natural medicine practitioner also knows that a person must take charge of their own health, monitor their own condition, and consequently help heal themselves. This is because our mind, body, and spirit are all interconnected. If we have a negative approach to our lives, we may well become ill. But once we recognize a problem and begin to deal with it, there are many natural therapies to help us. Disregarding culturally specific manners and customs, we can thus begin to recognize the strong link between natural therapies as delivered in the West and Native American medicine. And that brings us to sage. In Western complementary medicine, sage is an herb used to ease colds, flu, cystitis, and as a muscle relaxant. But in its many varieties, sage is the most important of all Native American herbs. The state flower of Nevada, sage is seen as a magic herb and as a protection against evil. Magic because it strengthens the senses and memory during Native American ceremony, and protective because it cures venomous snake bite. Native American hunters rub sage over their bodies to cover their scent when hunting. Sage is used on the clothes of dancers. Burning sage drives out bad spirits and influences, and some tribes wrap their pipes in sage to purify them. Traditional elders say that before a person performs ceremony or is healed, they should be cleansed of any bad feelings or negative thought. This is done by smudging a person with sage, cedar, and sweetgrass in the form of a smudge stick. Tight bundles of herbs tied together and left to dry.
Oh, grandfather.
Smudge sticks are used in a similar way to aromatherapy oil burners to purify a room, a person, or an object such as a crystal.
Spirit, Taquias.
Smudging helps healing come about in a very clear way. Once the person has been smudged, they have a clean aura, and words are spoken to imbue that aura with positive energy. John often says the words, bless and protect.
That's really all smudging means. It means, to take something and waft the smoke of it around the person to clear their aura, to clear that auric field around them, to clear their own body, to cleanse the power points and things. And it's in preparation for you going into lodge or going into ritual and doing whatever it is that you're going to be doing.
Sage is also used to cover the floor of the medicine lodge, and participants will rub bundles of sage over their bodies whilst they are in a lodge ceremony. In fact, wherever sage is present, negative forces cannot enter. But before we look at purification ceremonies in detail, we need to consider diagnosis. Dowsing is a form of diagnosis used to detect physical and spiritual imbalance. Many Native Americans douse using the feather from the wing of a predator bird. Nothing matches an eagle's courage and swiftness, and his feathers are the most sacred of healing tools. Only Native American medicine men are permitted to carry the feather. Federal rulings in the United States allow Native Americans to wear, give, or loan eagle feathers for religious and cultural purposes, even though the bird itself is a protected species. For dowsing, one end of the feather is dressed with a leather and tassel to give it the correct balance. The feather is not held, but balanced on the forefinger. When dowsing with the eagle's feather, John follows the meridian lines of the body. Imbalance may indicate tissue damage, such as bruising, or an internal problem. In such cases, dowsing can do no more than indicate the problem area.
John also uses a drum. In shamanic work or ceremony, drumming is used to alter consciousness in order to enter the spirit world. But in Native American dowsing, drumming is used for its resonance. As the drum is beaten, it is passed along the skeletal lines of the body. The medicine man listens to the vibration of the drum as a form of diagnosis. Drumming also helps to rebalance internal areas by resonance, which stimulates organ activity, similar to the cupping movement used in massage. In Western complementary therapy, dowsing diagnosis techniques often require the use of a pendulum. The dowser asks a question that can be answered by a simple yes or no, and the pendulum swings in the direction of the answer. This method is used to determine the origin of a problem in a patient's body, or to see if a recommended remedy will work. For example, if a patient wants to know whether a certain vitamin will be beneficial, the dowser will swing the pendulum over a bottle of vitamins and ask a direct yes/no question. The pendulum will then indicate if the patient is taking the correct vitamins. Other than this, dowsing is used to identify whether herbs, crystals, stones, or other materials have been taken in a correct or bad manner. The most honored crystal in Native American tradition is turquoise, thought to possess hidden truth by the tribes of the Southwest. The Sumi world is held up by crystal pillars of turquoise and quartz. The Navajo use turquoise in healing rites and in their sand paintings. The Cherokee also use crystals, but any purification ceremony is directed at the medicine man using the crystals rather than at the crystals themselves. John Two Birds uses crystals for their healing properties. Before he uses them, he believes they must be purified. John first passes an eagle feather over the crystal. If it rises, then the crystal is good. If it dips, then the crystal contains a negative energy and must be purified. John's favored method of purifying crystals is to smudge them with sage and then place them in spring water and finally dry them under the light of a full moon.
We have seen that in Native American medicine, the spiritual journey begins with the collection of the raw materials needed to make medicine, and that it is important that everything be taken in a good way. In the West, we have no less a spirit than the Native American. People interested in complementary therapies often use natural remedies in conjunction with traditional spiritual practices. We do this in order to live wisely and with more grace and beauty when faced by the challenges of our own culture. Our ceremony is understated. A prayer spoken in the privacy of a modern office can set in motion the intent to speak honestly throughout the day in stressful circumstances. To the Native American, ceremonies provide an essential backdrop to the use of all medicine. Natural materials taken in a sacred way form the ceremonial backdrop. Once collected, herbs are dried or tied into smudge sticks. Stones are used around the grandfather pit in Medicine Lodge. Willow is used to help construct the covering over the grandmother pit in Medicine Lodge ceremony, and willow wands also play an important part of a person's vision quest. Both ceremonies take place in circular sites, and stones and willow wands are painted and located around the sites to represent the 4 cardinal points of the medicine wheel. Each nation has its own explanation for the significance of the cardinal points in ceremonies. This is how they are seen by John Two Birds. The southern orientation is the place of innocence and trust. Yellow is the color of the south. The sun is strongest facing south and delivers us the gifts of innocence and boundless energy if we honor these qualities. The chief sacred plant placed to the south is cedar for protection. Stones placed to the south are painted yellow, and on willow wands, yellow is the topmost color. From the west, one advances through introspection to learn from the shadowy creatures in one's own mind. The sacred plant oriented to the west is mugwort for clear dreaming and prophecy, and black is the color of the west. The north represents wisdom learned from a hard life. From the north, we receive the ability to survive, to prevent mishap, and to prepare well for adversity. The plant most sacred to the north is sweetgrass, and the color of the stones is white. To the east are placed red stones. The east is the direction of spiritual insight into the origin and cause of all things. The Native American is known as the Red Man, for he seeks and respects all things. Plants sacred to the east are sage and tobacco. Blankets and pipes are decorated with beads in the same 4 cardinal colors for the same reasons. Medicine Lodge is both a structure and a group ceremony. A medicine lodge has the body cleansing properties of a sauna and is used in ceremony to cleanse the spirit and purify the soul. Each tribe has its own type of lodge, and the location of it and the time to use it are important elements in the ritual. The site for a lodge is chosen for its blend of sunlight and shade and for its colors. A medicine man then smokes pipe at the site, observes the elements, the animals, the sun, and the moon to confirm it is a good place to do lodge. The lodge John Two Birds creates consists of 2 stone circles, each with a central pit. One is the grandfather pit, the other the grandmother pit. They are linked by a path on which there is an altar. The grandfather fire pit represents the one fire from where spirit originated. It is an open pit because it is used to light the one fire. The rocks which are heated in the fire represent the sun seeds, the stars, and the seed of man. The actual ceremony takes place in the grandmother pit. This is an enclosed pit wrapped in blankets to create a complete blackout that represents the darkness inside the womb of the universal grandmother. The 2 pits are linked by a path, which is the path the stars take in their universal travel. And it is also the path the sun seeds take from the grandfather pit to the grandmother pit.
We ask Spirit, to help those things, a friend that may have an alcoholic problem, a brother or a sister who may have a drug problem, a spouse that might be abusive, the eagles, an animal that might be on the endangered species list that we happen to have a personal proclivity for, you know, a plant, whatever it is. This good earth, we ask Spirit to help us heal this earth. You know, part of that process we say is we can't heal this earth till we heal ourselves, and so that's what we're in Lodge for.
Lodge represents the infinite womb of the Great Mother, and those taking part must be pure when they enter. So before the ceremony begins, the grandfather pit, grandmother pit, the altar, and the people participating in Lodge are all smudged with the scent from the smoking sage stick wafted over them using an eagle's feather. When everything and everyone is purified, the fire in the grandfather pit is lit and burns until the stones are red hot. These stones, from the one fire of the grandfather pit, are the sun seeds. They are taken along the path and into the grandmother's womb. This signifies that everything from the center goes back to the center. Participants then crawl into the grandmother pit and fill the space in a clockwise direction.
You know, we say we do things in a clockwise manner because that's the direction that your heart pumps its blood. So that's your life path, in that clockwise manner. And so we always do things in a clockwise manner. Once again, it also comes back to that, you know, putting some kind of order and direction into your life to help you become in balance and in harmony and to walk in beauty.
Grandmother, we honor you for nurturing our lives.
The stones are sprinkled with cedar, the flap is closed, and the ceremony begins. Everyone taking part is now in the womb of the Great Mother, naked and humble. The space fills with heat from the stones to the sound of the gourd rattling and the drum beating. In the first round of prayers, sage, sweetgrass, and cedar fill the air. Prayers and songs continue in a clockwise direction, dedicated to one of the 4 directions of the medicine wheel. Often, the first round is dedicated to those powers of the north.
You have on one side the masculine, the grandfather, or the one fire. On the other side, you know, the lodge, which represents the mother, the grandmother, the great mother, the feminine. So what we do is we start the fire, we put stones into the fire pit, and we put wood around it. We start a fire there that simulates or replicates the one fire. Then we take those hot stones and we carry those stones down that path, we say, that our own sun, that all stars take to reach that point to where they are, you know. That it carried it down, and then we come to the altar where we say the feminine and the masculine came together. And then we carried on past that where the feminine took the masculine, took the sun seed into herself, much as a woman takes the seed of a man into herself, you know, and life came from it. So there's a process there of first respecting the grandfather fire, of going around it and calling Spirit to look down on it and bless it for us, so that everything that we do is sacred. So we bless the one fire. Then we trace that path up to the altar. Then we bless the altar. And then we trace that path to the womb. And then we bless that womb. And then we go inside the womb. And basically what happens for us, we believe, is that when we go inside that womb, there's a rebirthing process takes place in there.
More herbal cleansing waters and tobacco are poured onto the hot stones, and a hot steam or cloud is created, much like a modern-day sauna. To the Native American, these are the tears of the Great Mother. For when life in the universe began, the hot stones or sun seeds traveled out into the grandmother's womb, or as we would say, the universal void. On a man or woman's soul, purified by smudging, the Great Mother's tears rewrite the rules for life. Prayers are offered to Wakantanka, or the Great Spirit, and the people are healed. By the 4th round, the tobacco pipe is passed and smoked, and after everyone has smoked, the Medicine Lodge is over. Medicine Lodge is a place that induces profound purification and vision. Participants visit ancestors and see animal helpers and offer prayers dedicated to the good of all beings and the celebration of spirit that these things may come to pass. Some people live contented lives for many years and give themselves the time and space to think about what they want and the purpose they are meant to serve. Quest is a ceremony done by people seeking their path and purpose in life. We are all on this earth to grow to our full potential. When we find our purpose, we cannot help but generate positive energy. Questing is all about seeking guidance from spirit. As in Lodge, a quest site is chosen for its blend of sunlight, shade, and its colors, and a medicine man will do pipe until he is satisfied that it is a good place. The quest site is then marked out using prayer wands and cornmeal. As mentioned before, there are 4 wands to mark the 4 cardinal directions. 7 small pouches of dried tobacco leaves, known as tobacco ties, are hung from the top of each willow wand. These stand for the 7 prayers that protect the nature of this belief from the outside world. The sun rises in the east, and here a willow wand is set, together with its 7 tobacco ties. Where the sun is at midday, the person about to do quest will dig a fire pit. The earth from this pit will be used to build an altar 1 step to the west. Where the sun sets is marked by the western willow wand. To the south is set another willow wand, and this is also the site for firewood and a drum. The drum is used as an alarm should anything go wrong, and to herald the sunrise, midday, sunset, and midnight of each day of quest. To the north, beside a prayer wand, are placed a pair of sage sticks. Outside the cardinal prayer wands, a circle of yellow cornmeal is traced around the quest site. Inside the prayer wands, John traces a circle of white cornmeal. The yellow cornmeal represents the masculine protector, and the white, female nourishment. The person will need to focus on these ritualistic symbols as their quest lasts for 4 days and 4 nights without food.
When you imbue these circles, you have to believe that that outer circle is going to provide protection for you, that this inner circle is going to nourish you while you're inside of this sacred circle. If you don't believe that, it's just so much cornmeal down there. So when you come out to do these quests, you have to be focused on what it is that you're doing.
As in a lodge, the entire area is smudged before a quest begins, and once the fire is lit, it must be maintained for the entire time of the quest, hence the firewood. However, the person is allowed to leave the quest site when nature calls, but they must do so using the smudge sticks placed at the north door. They must smudge themselves and the doorway each time they enter and exit. Only then will they maintain a pure environment and nourish pure thoughts. People quest in earnest. In 4 days and 4 nights of fasting and staying awake, they hope to get to that between place where spirit listens and grants new vision. Healing is only part of Native American life, but it has a deep spiritual significance. With this knowledge, we can clearly see how far we have drifted from the spiritual side in our Western use of natural treatments. Many goods sold today have a spiritual significance that can only be guessed at. Take dream catchers. Tribes from the plains would hang them outside their doors for good luck. A more contemporary use is to hang dream catchers over a baby's cot at night to shield the child from bad dreams. In the morning, when the rays of the sun touch the dream catcher, the nightmares fade away. Placing a modern interpretation on an ancient ritual has become the common practice of every generation. The past, present, and the future are all represented on the Native American medicine wheel in which the individual sits at the center. Life moves in order to complete the natural cycle of all things. By adopting and adapting tradition to modern circumstances, we are advancing the cycle and broadening our understanding of ourselves as one people. The key to the successful use of natural medicine is to do this in a meaningful way.
I would hope that all of us one day would be able to reach out to each other, live together in balance and harmony like I try and teach, and I believe Spirit wants us to live, so that we can all walk hand in hand in beauty.
As we begin to remember how to use powerful medicine, our interest in natural remedies increases. It is as if the translated words of Chief Seattle, spoken in 1854, resonate once more to carry an important message for us all.
Every part of this land is sacred to my people. How can you buy and sell the sky, the warmth of the land? The idea is strange to us. If we do not own the freshness of the air and the sparkle of the water, how can you buy them? The perfumed flowers are our sisters. The deer, the horse, the great eagle, these are our brothers. The rolling crests, the juices of the meadow, the body heat of the pony and man, all belong to the same family. What is man without the beasts? If all beasts were gone, man would die from a great loneliness of spirit. For whatever happens to the beasts soon happens to man. All things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons of the earth. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the earth, he does to himself. Where's the thicket? Gone. Where's the eagle? Gone. And what is it to say goodbye to the swift pony and the hunt? The end of living and the beginning of survival.
In the